Impact Arts received an investment to run a craft cafe. That's still ongoing at the moment. It's a 6-month programme to enhance older people's social skills, learn new skills and reconnect with the communities. And those of you who have had experience or know about Impact Arts will know that the focus that they use is actually the medium of art, as opposed to, for example, socialisation through lunch clubs. And 17 people are attending currently the weekly cafe that they run. The carers, my colleague Christine, sitting over there, has been coming to all the Leeds meetings, but the carers received an investment to enable the employment of support workers specifically to develop services for older people again. And this has resulted in group activities, therapies, provision of information and advice on a more targeted basis. And of the outside organisations, the third sector organisations, the other one I've mentioned was the provision of advocacy services. And AIMS Advocacy were funded to provide 2 part-time workers to raise the awareness of advocacy to older people and their carers. And I think with the investment in North, we've certainly tried to ensure that whilst the book says over 65s only, that this has actually been extended in some considerable way by enabling their carers to participate in any activities that are being run. The third sector interface itself, Arran CVS and the Ayrshire Community Trust, what have we been doing? We were asked by the statutory leads, first of all, to put some development workers in to specifically target volunteering. And that has resulted, it's sort of moved on from there, to provide a new job title some of you will have heard of, certainly in North I think the title's becoming fairly well known, of Community Connectors. At the time when social services first spoke to me about it, I have to confess I had to go away to the internet to find out what the definition of this person was. But in essence, if I can sum it up, it's to signpost older people and their carers to services across North Ayrshire that meet their needs and interests. And at that point, that was when we started, or I started to appreciate that within NHS, lots of people within NHS knew about each other's services. A lot of the council social services teams weren't aware of some of the things that NHS were doing and vice versa. And neither statutory agency were aware of what the third sector services were that were on offer. And the role of the community connector has become quite prominent now in North Ayrshire because it's to attend things like the local operational meetings, the local operational team meetings, to ensure that the attendees at the local operational teams are aware of the services that the third sector can provide. But equally importantly, to attend meetings of lunch clubs, elderly forums and the like, to ensure that the community at large are aware of the services that are available through the statutory services. And to assist that, we were asked also to develop a service directory, which we have done now. We're in the process of electronically trying to get this onto tablets now so it can be available to, in particular, social workers. There, but a directory of services available. That part of it's been done. And one thing that's gone a spin-off from that has been the development on both one for the mainland and also a separate one for Arran of a What's On guide. And the What's On guides, if any of you are interested in that to see what's happening in North Ayrshire, are basically telling literature available just to let people know in the various towns what's on, what day, what time and who to contact. And there's examples of this on the table at the end there. Where are we moving on to now? Well, we were asked also to provide a pot of money, that's my word, pot of money, to be made available to support lunch club developments in North Ayrshire. And this was the one that the council were particularly keen on seeing developed. And the result of the lunch club work was that we now have 14 lunch clubs that were funded from the investment that was made to ourselves. We were just acting as a pass-through in that. We set up criteria in conjunction and consultation with the community as to how much money should and against what criteria the money should be distributed. 14 lunch clubs, some new, so I think the balance was 7 new ones and support for 7 existing ones to expand, resulted in 125 volunteers engaged in supporting these groups, with the figures here, 617 older people attending, of which 177 are people that weren't formally attending these lunch clubs. So this was all about the socialisation in the attempt at the end of the day, working on the principle that if people are socialising, they're less likely to want the services from the statutory agencies, or at least at a later date. So the lunch clubs have proved to be a success in year one. In year two, we've been asked to keep the focus to developing lunch clubs, but specifically, or to target more, sheltered housing complexes in North, which are in the situation that over the years the warden support has either disappeared or reduced. And of course, if we can get some socialisation in there in the form of lunch clubs, it's going to mean that social contact can be re-established with the individuals within them. And we work in partnership with North Ayrshire Council Community Learning and Development in terms of the activities that are run within the lunch clubs. The final one I want to mention is we're working on a project specifically at the moment to provide respite care. It's more a sitter service for people to give them a break when they're dealing with palliative care, sitting by the patient bedside. So we're working on a project to let the personal carers of the individuals to give them a break. We're calling it the Take a Break service, and we're working with NHS closely on that one with volunteers to provide this sitting service. And the biggie that I've got on my plate at the moment, a personal foot care service that my colleagues are going to talk about in a moment in greater detail. In North, we've been asked to, as have the other two areas, to establish a personal foot care service, and in North to give the community and voluntary sector an opportunity of picking up that work, which isn't core traditional CVS/volunteer centre type work. We're at the process of tendering that at the moment. And I'd like to welcome at this stage now to shift the emphasis to South Ayrshire and my colleague Marie Oliver. Thank you.